All right, guys, we are live. Let's get into our Sunday stock talk. This week, we're going to be going over some stocks recommended by you guys, as well as some picks that I've been looking at for this upcoming week. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen here. Alrighty, so when we look at um, Robinhood Legend here, I'm just going to open up the full screen here. And one thing to note is before you get started, we can start from scratch here. You guys can kind of see how we set up the layout. Essentially, over here is where you pick your widgets. I'm going to go ahead and pick a watch list right here, and you can stretch it, move it as you please. We have our October week 3 watch list, and that's totally fine for us to use this week. And then we also have our chart. So again, it's just our main chart. We're going to link it with these blue dots up here, over here with our watch list. So as we go back and forth and add stocks, it will update on this chart as well. A couple things. I think I'm going to add, you have your account summary, you got options. I'm going to go ahead and add our positions as well, just because that feels good. So let's go ahead and load up our indicators. It's a preset, full technical. If you guys want to know how we do the indicators, feel free to screenshot any of the numbers that you see on here. Last thing is the chart. I like it to look a little more smooth. So let's get right into it. This is going to be first going through, we got 4 stocks here that I'd like to cover. I also have some recommendations from some people. I dropped a comment in the chat for you guys if you'd like to recommend a stock. It has to be in call out format, please, because that will make it easier for me to kind of see what you're looking at when you're investing in these companies. If we're doing technicals, if you're just doing fundamentals, we can talk about that as well. But just friendly reminder, we have the call out format down below. So don't hesitate to send any call outs there. So let's get right into it. I'm going to be starting off with first one we see here. We got from Thad. He says Palantir. Oh, okay. So we're going to go ahead and pull it up. This is a tech stock that is really dominating in the mid to large cap growth in the AI space. And actually, that's what I'd like to cover today. I'd like to really go into some of the AI space today. So let's kind of take a look at what it is that you're seeing here. I'm just going to pull up the 1 year and we'll just take a look right now. It's obviously on a tear, well above our moving average. It's been using that EMA as a support, as you can see, or at least it's acting that way. And right now, if we look on the RSI, it looks like it's overbought. Now we've seen that it also looked like it was overbought over here. It looked like it was overbought over here. I mean, we're looking at a stock that is absolutely trending upwards. Now, a couple things. I know you guys, I dropped the support and resistance, the desired entry. So Thad is saying he'd like to enter at 42.50. All right, Thad, so a couple things. Wow, I don't have a lot to chart up here because it's relatively new. But you're saying that we have a desired entry of 42.50 and a sell 44.25. 44.25. So 44.25, we're up here. Let's get rid of that. 44.25. So really all-time high. Okay, so a couple things, it's not that it won't continue up. Charlie Munger said with Tesla stock, he would never short Tesla, but he said he would never invest in Tesla. He'd also never short Tesla. Right now, I would not short this stock because obviously we're in an AI and tech boom right now. And I've seen a lot of developments in this company as well that are interesting. Couple things though, when you have a stock that is up to $44 and it dropped down to 42. You're saying you want to get in at 42, sell at 44. You know, you really got to evaluate some of the risk, right? I mean, of course, we could see it continue up as that's the direction it's going right now. But what do you think would be more likely? Do we think that it's has a greater chance in the short term on this little trade to maybe come out with $2? So if we mark that up and we actually see like what does that even come out to? Okay, so like potentially 5% on a trade. It's not it's a good goal to have. However, if you are expecting to go in and get 5% from a stock that is already peaking out RSI, already high on the MACD, we have some great fundamentals with the stock, I get it, but just to look at, you know, the average, right? We've seen it drop a lot in one day before. We've seen it go and retest this moving average. So wouldn't it make sense to just keep a very, very tight risk on this investment if you go in? And really, I want you to look at it and say, if you were invested in it right now, would you sell or buy if you were owning it right now? Now, if you already owned the stock, would you sell or would you buy more? In most cases, you'd probably be looking to sell, right? So it's not that it's a terrible investment. I know it's a good company. They have a lot of innovation happening, but I mean, just to look at where it is compared to, you know, the amount of risk that we could see. You know, I don't want anybody to get into something that they don't fully understand, but if you look at all the indicators and you look at where it is, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense from a risk perspective, right? I know that it's a good company. We get it. And I just want you to think about if you would buy it right now, essentially. Would you sell it if you had it right now? Okay, so you know, again, if you are going to get it, again, I'd keep that. You're obviously looking for 5% profit, and in that event, you know, if you were to take this trade on the 1 day, you know, then in the event that you do that, just realize that this SMA or EMA right here, it's acting as a support, and you know, I would think about if you have a stop loss, you don't want it to go below this EMA really and play around with that. So I would say set your stop loss at what you identify the trend line to be at, and then from there, you know, manage your risk. Then you go into the trade at least knowing where you would sell in the event that it breaks pattern and what you're looking to do in the event that it pushes up to where you're looking to sell, and if you're going to sell at that point or move your stop loss up. So that's gonna do it for Palantir. If you guys Palantir, if you guys have any other recommendations, do drop them in. Again, we're doing that call out format. You can either drop the ticker for me. I know this is one of our first analyses in this format, so if you guys want to just drop a ticker, I can take a look at it as well. So I'm gonna actually go into Tesla here. So a couple things. You guys know we are on Tesla stock. We purchased earlier this week. We were in the green and we stayed in the green, and I was feeling like it was really retesting this, and we could see, although it started to push up after that robotaxi event, it sold off, and now it's really testing. It's at a critical point here at the SMA. Is it going to continue down, Tesla, or not? That was something I was worried about on Friday, so that was part of why I actually hedged against my position. So that's why we have TSLL here, which is the inverse 2x of Tesla, about 3,600 bucks in Tesla there, and then we put in order to hedge it out. So basically, I'm only risking about 10% of what is totally invested at this point. With the inverse, we put basically 6,300 in the 1x of Tesla, the bull, to offset the inverse there. So that's why we have two positions of Tesla. And then this right here was why, is because if it pushes up and we see it continue its direction, excellent. And this is exactly what happened actually last time when I saw the market consolidating here, this was one of my biggest trades over the past year on TSLL that I got to capitalize on about 30% of the swing. And the reason why is because you could see it break above this EMA and continue its direction up. So right now, this EMA, it could act as resistance, and we could see it kind of in a bearish pattern, right? We saw it cross below. If it crosses below the SMA, then that's even more indication that we could see that it would be more bearish. However, again, I'm managing my risk here, looking to buy or de-hedge my position so that I can capitalize on some of this swing, because I'd like to see it push back up to around $11 to $13. And if we're just kind of evaluating what that would look like from a profit perspective, like let's say that it gets to 1280, which is what I'm looking for, that's a 35% gain, right? So it doesn't take a ton of trades to be able to make a return. It takes identifying the right opportunity, getting in at a point that you find you're not paying a premium, and then when you get into the trade, being able to manage your risk. In this case, I didn't have PDT on this account, so that's why you would want to hedge against your position if you're able to do that, and then that can allow you to trade, make decisions quickly. As you guys know, hedge funds and the massive financial markets, they operate a lot of the time through machines, and the amount of time that the market moves and makes decisions can be a matter of a couple seconds or a couple minutes. That's part of the risk that you take on when trading. So it's important to make decisions quickly, but do it in accordance with the plan that you've preset. And hopefully, guys, hopefully when you're investing in these companies, you already are investing in a company that is fundamentally sound. I don't encourage you guys to trade penny stocks. We don't invest in anything like that. So, okay. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So TSLL, again, that's how we'll be managing the position this week. And if you guys have any callouts you'd like me to take a look at, definitely do drop them in the chat. Be more than happy to take a look. So the other one that we're looking at here, guys, that we had recommended is SOXL. SOXL is essentially a company that makes up all of the semiconductors and the microchip companies that are the providers for NVIDIA, Apple, Meta, Tesla, Google, and many others. And so this is a stock that you would want to keep an eye on if you wanted to basically be a part of the growth that happens in the microchip and AI and tech space. And so this is one of the stocks that I'm looking at right now. I actually have a position that I purchased around $34, and it's been continuing up since I made that purchase. Well, actually, I wrote it down here to $27 initially. Then we saw it recover, and now we've seen it up above the EMA, potentially looking to have a bullish direction if we can break back above this moving average. We're going to actually just keep a really close eye on SOXL. It ended out the day on Friday at 0%, but we saw a lot of volatility the past week. So I'm looking to actually manage my risk here around $33. And the reason why is because, as I mentioned, we're in at 34. So if it goes to 33, that's when I would actually sell. If we're looking at what margin of profit I'm identifying here, well, I can do a little chart here for you guys, but I can also do like a Fibonacci. Let's just take a look, right? Part of why I invested is because we had this support here. This support is essentially not just a double bottom that you may have heard of, right? A stock changes direction a lot of times when it hits a double bottom, but it's also not just a reversal, it's a divergence, right? And we have a little more confirmation of a reversal when we see divergence. And essentially what divergence is it may appear that it was just a double bottom on this indicator. However, on another indicator, if you look here on the RSI or the MACD, you can see that it's actually looking more bullish. Yes, right here, it had a bottom of about $25. And yes, right here at the bottom of $25. But over on the MACD, we could see that the overall divergence is actually showing that it's becoming bullish. See how these aren't even, and how the RSI is actually gaining strength towards pushing back to the middle right here, as opposed to going to being oversold. So that's actually what I was looking at. So what I'm looking here is actually for SOXL to push up quite a bit. I would actually expect SOXL to see this resistance right here. We have a resistance that's also acting as a support. And we have this right here. And I'd like to also bring up the Fibonacci, just because I would love to work by Fibonacci. I found it to be actually quite accurate this year, and especially in consolidating markets. And what we can see here is so let's just take a look at that right there. If we see it push up from here to here, that's a 55% increase. Now, as you guys know, this has been my best year. We're over 120% on the year. And there's two trades right now and opportunities that I see massive difference in the amount of value that the company is providing and the amount of the share price and where I believe it should be. SOXL, again, is made up of all the microchip companies that supply, like Taiwan Semiconductor for NVIDIA. You got Taiwan Semiconductor also for Tesla, or sorry, yeah, NVIDIA and Tesla as a byproduct. You also have Broadcom inside of SOXL, and Broadcom has deals with Google, has deals with Meta, and provides the microchips for them. So it's like, okay, guys, we're looking at tech that has been extremely bullish, and AI has been growing exponentially. And we saw a high of around $72 here back in July. Now, it's obviously sold off tremendously, but what we're seeing is what looks like a divergence and for it to continue up its direction. And as a result, I'm seeing here what could be potentially 55%. And that's why I'm holding it in my Charles Schwab portfolio. And I'm actually doing quite a swing trade. Been in it for about 15 days so far. So let's do that Fibonacci and check out kind of what that is looking like. So again, Fibonacci, we go down here, going to go to the very bottom for it change direction, and where we would see it pushing up, which is perfect right here. Okay. So essentially, guys, this is the ratios. You may know Leonardo da Vinci. He operates in Fibonacci. You may have heard of the golden ratio, the Mona Lisa. These aren't things that are just here like to show you, hey, look at all these beautiful things that look really pretty that I actually should probably just get rid of for a second. But it's actually because there's real, the whole world operates in the Fibonacci, and you can see it in nature. And so human nature and the way that we invest and the charts move actually tend to follow Fibonacci sequences. And so let's take a look here. This is what is the 0.618 golden ratio right here, right? This is actually when you may want to consider purchasing. And this is when they say is a good time to purchase in this range right here, depending on if you're going bullish or bearish. And so what we see here is that SOXL, aside from it fundamentally being quite attractive, guys, it's up to $41. It goes down, and this is at the bottom here of the golden ratio, and it's consolidating here in the golden ratio. And I see this as a great time to actually get in. So that's why I'm holding. I'm going to continue to hold this position, and I'm going to hope, not just hope, but also manage my risk here that it continues up. I was up quite a bit on this stock, up to $39 a share, and I still am holding because it didn't go back below to where I originally invested, and I see it as something that has a much greater potential than just these little swings right here. But again, do your own due diligence. This is just kind of how I'm approaching SOXL. I know it's what has led to some of my success investing in these companies. Do you guys have any call outs? Do comment in that comment section. Right now we have one call out that we've done, which was Palantir. And if you have others, do drop them below in the live chat. So here, this is the other one I wanted to go over for a short position. As you guys know, I don't trade options super often. I do trade options, but ideally I'm more of a undervalued stock investor that sees value and purchases it. In the tech world today, it can be kind of unpredictable to short. However, Spotify is one of those stocks that is, I think, really, really overvalued and should have no place being at around $380 a share because of the fair value that's at 350 that was recently upgraded from 250 because AI is inflating and massively basically it's inflating the music market. We're seeing AI that is as good as radio music coming out. We're also seeing competition, not just from AI, but we're seeing competition in the realm of Google and YouTube and Apple Music and Amazon. And I'm seeing this right here as, I mean, if we just look on the RSI here, guys, you could see it was extremely overbought. It's still up here around the 70 on the RSI. The MACD was looking very overextended, and now we can see a little bit of this continued direction. But I mean, even on the trend line here, you can see the MACD has had this pattern. We also have this pattern just on the uptrend. If it doesn't drop down below to $300, which I could see happen to Spotify, if it doesn't do that and somehow continues in the direction that it's going right now, and it's not overvalued, which I believe that it is extremely overvalued at this moment. Even so, if we look at that potential for profit, we're looking at from right here, if it drops down, that's about 7%. So I would actually purchase some options here. This would be something that I would do a put on Spotify. So again, you can add a widget here. You can drop in an options chain. Make sure you want to link it up to the actual chart that you're looking at. And we're here on Spotify. And I'm actually going to be looking at the puts here, probably not for October 25th, but for mid-November, beginning to mid-November. And yeah, I'm going to be looking at some puts. I'm really not too bullish on Spotify at all at this moment. So I'll keep you guys updated on this position. I don't know that I'll take it this week, but we'll see. If it has a big push up at the beginning of the market here on Monday, then that would be a really good indication for us to actually get in and get some puts going on Spotify. Do you guys have any other tech investments that you believe are interesting? I think someone had commented Symbotic. Okay, so Symbotic is an AI company, if I'm not mistaken. And I'd really like to do a little more fundamental on this, but we'll do some technical. So what do we see with Symbotic? Couple things. It's actually at a critical point right now where we could see it continue up. We could also see it continue its downward direction. If we're looking on the RSI and the MACD, it looks like it's about to sell off. However, I wouldn't be so quick to say that it's going to sell off. There's a couple things I see here. So see this resistance back in April 23. Then it consolidated a little bit before pushing up, and that's at $30 a share. So Symbotic also hit $30 a share support here, and also hit $30 a share in November 23. it pushed up quite a bit. We were looking very bullish, and then it dropped back down here in June, and now after doing so, it dropped back down again. But you can see this clear support. So this support, this resistance acted as support, this support acted as support there, and now usually a support tends to act as a resistance, and we actually see that. We actually see it getting rejected right here. So a couple things. I would say, let's take a look at the SMA and the EMA. Let me get this on the 15, and I want to see if we can get a better look at this reversal, if there is one. Okay, let's go green. Okay, so on the 180 day, it looks like it still may have some room to run if it's going to be acting as a resistance on this. You can also see that it crossed over this EMA and is now it's acting as support, and we're seeing it start to push up. So a reversal here. Oh wow, the other thing that's quite interesting is again this divergence that we mentioned earlier. What is a divergence? It's where on one indicator you see it one way, and on another indicator you see it a different way. And oftentimes, if you pay attention to one of or more of them, it would indicate that you will have a reversal, right? A divergence. So what we have here is this looks like it's going to continue down. Looks quite bearish, does it not? However, right, that looks quite bearish. If you look right here. But there's a couple things that we see here. This RSI and this MACD are actually showing signs of bullish growth. You see how even though on the chart it was lower on the RSI and MACD, we're actually seeing it push up and making higher highs and higher lows. And if it breaks above this previous resistance support, then we actually, and it could be a complete breakout. And so it's actually quite an interesting call out. I really appreciate that. I think that was David. You know, one thing, I've been looking at a lot of AI stocks, a lot of tech. Symbotic's one that I haven't touched a lot. I know it's mid to large cap AI company. If we look at, if I believe so, they are robotics, Symbotics. Yeah, I believe they do like fully automated like warehouse logistics and things like that. Kind of like, you know, how you have Amazon, they don't have even workers in the warehouse. They have robots that go and like get the packages and deliver them. You know, it's quite common. There's a lot of e-commerce companies and different workforces that could benefit from their logistics, especially with what we're seeing with like Optimus and NVIDIA, and how we're seeing the robotics really start to advance here this year. But again, kind of at a critical point, and if we can see what this looks like, you know, before I get there, let's actually draw up what we could see this get to, and I'll also do a Fibonacci here. So we see a little consolidation here. We see again a support right here, kind of a support. It's kind of struggling, going up and down right here. Then again right here. And then it was a support. I'm just identifying this line, right? Support, support. Then it kind of acted as a resistance right here. And so that's kind of the next level that I would identify. So let's draw that out. I believe it's right here. So as you can see, there is this level here. It's even like a little bit bullish. It actually, the whole thing kind of slants up a little bit. And so this is kind of how I would draw it up. What you see is that this could be the next level. We'll do Fibonacci to really take a look, but let's see what that margin for profit looks like, and identifying what we're seeing. And that would be in the short term. We'd imagine, you know, over a few days. It's really about a 25% margin for profit. That's over the course of 10 days. And that's what we've seen it do in the past. It's not uncommon for it to push up. Of course, I would wait a little bit. I think that it could retest this EMA. And it hasn't actually, it's been getting rejected here at this line that we drew up, the previous support and resistance. So it still hasn't confirmed that it's actually going to continue up. So I would take a little bit more time to get a little more confirmation, but you could also, it's one of those stocks that is quite bullish in AI. And if it does move, we could see it move tremendously in a short amount of time. So it's just something that you could also kind of keep in your mind as, if you manage risk correctly, it may not be a terrible time. But even as, so if we're having an optimistic view on what the stock could do, that's what it looks like. One thing to consider though is we also see this kind of trend line down, right? And so you just have to just weigh your risk, because while it is at a critical point and we could continue to see this AI stock push up, it's also at a point where it could get, as I said, it's critical. It could get rejected here and continue down in its trend. Even the RSI and the MACD would be a bearish case that it is overbought and maybe still at a little bit of a premium. So if I got into it, I would manage my risk quite well. And I would also probably wait for some confirmation that's really going to push up more. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's drop these indicators, or let's just drop this indicator and this indicator. And let's try the Fibonacci. I'm really loving the Fibonacci today. So guys, is there any other, just looking, let's see. So how do you do Fibonacci? Well, you go from here to the bottom to where we would see it reverse. Okay, so in the event that it gets there, golden 0.618 is right here, which is actually where it crossed or continued to push up. And I see a comment says, Musab says, when will Robinhood Legend be available for everyone? I talked to customer service. I wasn't there on the live stream, so I didn't get the first 1,000 seats. But yeah, so I talked to customer service and I told them that I was making some videos using Robinhood and I would love to test out the platform. And they just connected me with some people that were in a higher position, I guess, of customer service. And then they basically granted me access to Robinhood Legend. So they said, but before that, they said it made, in the big live stream, they said that it was going to be about 8 or I think they said 4 to 8 weeks. It could be like a month or so until everybody has access to Robinhood Legend. Now, the thing that we see here with the Fibonacci, again, is that we see it in this golden ratio right here of what they say, quote unquote, is the buy. And again, when we identified this previous support that went back a very long ways and is acting as resistance, it pushed up to there. This would be a really good case scenario. If it pushes up and even breaks out above the SMA, then that is obviously the golden, well, I don't want to say golden because that's actually down here, the great scenario of profit. And again, if we just really look at the info line and you say, okay, if I wait for it to retest on the EMA and I get in and I buy and I get into that good to great territory according to how people trade using the Fibonacci, then that would be about 25% margin for profit. Now, of course, there is that room for it to go down. It could continue down another 25%. However, you also see with this AI company that it's gone really up to here in the past 2 years. It's been in this range twice, which is over 115%. over 115%, guys. So that is a massive potential trade. So I'm just going to keep this one on that. So let's take a look at, I'm going to do one more here, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. We got to check out SOXL, checked out Palantir. We got to check out Symbotic AI, Spotify, and Tesla. It's been a great live stream so far. I'm just going to check out one more, guys. We're going to look at, I just had it in my head, actually. We are going to look at this one is so important that I wanted to really take a look at, and I can't even remember. This is why I need to drop into my StockMate picks and see. We had Taiwan Semiconductor. We got NVIDIA. Yeah, there was one more that I wanted to look at, and I actually, which one was it? We did Tesla. We did Tesla, Spotify, SOXL, microchips. Okay. What was the other one that we were going to do? One of the special things about, oh, this is what I want to look at. Actually, I want to look at Robinhood. Let's take a look at the hood since they released this new platform. So they've really been on a bull run. I wonder if it's as a result of releasing this awesome platform. A couple things. They had the event back on the 16th. And it is consolidating there. It hasn't pushed up tremendously since the new release of this platform. It pushed up, I think it was like 5 or 10% in a day, and then now it's kind of continuing. What we've seen though is it's really been on a trend. It looks a little overextended if you look on the MACD and the RSI. Absolutely, at this moment, looks overextended. However, of course, you have previous highs. I remember buying Robinhood and being very optimistic. However, right now it's not looking like the best deal as it's quite overextended. So when we're identifying premium prices, we just have to really weigh what we think could be worth it or not. And it's not one that I would actually get into right now. Yeah, there's just too much downside. Like even if it comes down to what is the EMA, which we absolutely could go see it retest that, be about 4.63%. See it go down to the SMA and actually be more on track with what its previous pattern has been. It doesn't mean it's going to continue that way, but they tend to. Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't it make sense to just manage your risk? Yeah, it's just so overextended at this moment. I would see it actually selling off. I don't know that it's going to go all the way back down to this SMA. They have an amazing platform that they've recently launched, so we could see it continue up, but it's really not one that I would even consider investing in right now. Okay. They have some great tech, though. I will say this has been the best platform that I've used in regards to trading. So guys, that's going to do it for the Sunday Stock Talk. It's been amazing to break down all of these great AI and tech stocks with you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you guys that would like a free Robinhood investing book, it's that first link in the description below. For those of you guys that would like to watch me trade live tomorrow at Market Open, we have Stockmates, which is our community and lesson library of music, music industry tech, AI tech, and a lot of innovation. And if you guys want to learn how to invest in those stocks, then I would encourage you guys to simply take a look at Stockmates, the second link in the description. So thank you guys again for watching. Really do appreciate you all. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed. We have a quick question about Robinhood Legend. Yeah, brother, feel free to send me a message on Instagram. It's that fourth link in the description, I believe. Be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.